Hello everyone, this is the Christmas Xeno, wishing everyone a happy holidays from your friends at Super Unimportant Reviews. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got some Christmas to dispense.
Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Important Reviews. My name's Steve and Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you want to say. But today we're going to be going over the Neca Alien Isolation Xenomorph. If you guys don't know where this is from, it's from the hit Sega game Alien Isolation, which I gotta say is probably one of my favorite survival horror games to come out in a long time. Next to the original Dead Space is another one of my big favorites, which Neca actually also put out figures for those guys. And I decided to pick this figure up because you guys really wanted me to do some Alien Isolation figure reviews, and I figured for Christmas, why not get this guy out? So without further ado, for the packaging, I actually really like the overall look of the appearance on the card here, where it has the pretty much what you see on the cover of the game Alien Isolation, where you have Ripley here with the Xenomorph kind of showing off in the back of the helmet here. You can see the figure pretty clearly inside of the prison here. Also got Alien Isolation up here at the top, but the lighting's kind of messing that up a bit. Nothing too much here on the sides. On the bottom, some Lego Mumbo Jumbo. And on the back of the packaging, you just get a nice profile shot of the Xenomorph. Also tells you what else is available with the same Xenomorph. And if you guys want to read the bio real quick, I'll let you. Alright, we good? Alright. And that's pretty much it. So let's get this guy opened up out of his plastic prison. Alright, so now that we have the ISO alien opened up out of his plastic prison, first we'll go over his one accessory, which is his stand, which what you get here is a clear circle base and a clear stand with an actual articulated hinge up here for the little grip for our alien here. And when you get it out of the box, these are separated. All you gotta do is just insert it into the peg hole here. Nothing too complicated. But one thing I like about it is there's actually an articulated joint here, so you can actually kind of get a little bit more play with the alien in terms of positions that you can put on the stand. But I kind of wish they would have added an articulated joint here for the little grippers, because just like the dog alien, there is no real give for these things. So there's not a whole lot of options you really have to hook it to the alien, because like with my dog alien, this part actually snapped on me, which is a wee bit of a bummer. But on this alien, there isn't really too many options to really hook this to other than his tail region, which what you're going to probably primarily be doing is just sitting pretty much where his tail connects to his rear end right here. You're just going to be resting it onto the little joint right here. Seems like the best way to be displaying this guy on your shelf in terms of just if you want to have the tail upwards, which he doesn't actually need the stand to really stand up if you're going to have him in a tall upright position, which is probably how I would have him on my display case. But it is still cool that you actually can get him in more squatty positions, or you can kind of just use it to rest the alien on top of, because with it having an articulated joint here, I really get worried about trying to hook this thing onto his waist. Like, you could put it on his leg, I guess, is an option. Like, I kind of wish that this part actually maybe rotated, but it sadly doesn't, so you can kind of use it maybe on the knee section here to kind of give him a little bit more support for the articulation, but then he's going to kind of be leaning a little bit to the side. So you can kind of just have him resting on his chest, I guess, so that he's in a more crouched forward position, or even on the neck region right here, which then you can kind of get. Actually, that doesn't really work out too well either. So yeah, so for the most part, the stand, essentially where you're going to be mainly using it for is right back here, but then again, it's not going to really help him in more crouched positions. More or less, if you have him in cross positions, you're probably just going to be having him on all fours anyway, just kind of running around. So while the stand is kind of has its purposes, I guess, it's not as good as I would really like it to be. And personally, for this figure, it doesn't seem like it's really that necessary to begin with. And then bringing in our ISO alien for a little bit closer look at his details, which are actually really nice for the majority of the figure. I really like the head sculpt on here, where it's very big chap looking, where you can actually see the skull in the inside of the dome here. And what's kind of cool too, if you guys have seen my recent review of my 2008 release of the 22-inch big chap, he actually has the same features here as that figure, where they actually drew in the lines here for some of the detail work here. And it's hard to tell inside. I don't really notice too many raised edges, but you can see the black lines going over the cracks in the skull here. But there is actually added detail in here where you can actually see the skeletal spine on the top of the crest here. Not sure how well it's going to be coming through the camera. Kind of see it right there. And then you can also see, if you look underneath, that there actually is some detail work under there. It's not just all markers, so that's actually really cool. And it really helps to make the dome kind of stand out, especially with its more frosted transparency. So the dark black actually helps to show off the details a lot more. And overall, this alien is actually in a very nice glossy brown color scheme with some black accents for a lot of the line work here for the muscles and inside of the skeletal form. But for the most part, he looks very Big Chap-ish. The only real major difference that I noticed between him and Big Chap is mainly the color scheme and his super de-duper elongated tail. Also, he has some really freaking long, smexy legs to this alien too. But one complaint I do have with the head sculpt is when you start actually messing around with the articulation a bit. For the jaws, his jaws can open pretty wide. The only thing that's kind of a bummer is you could definitely see the separation here for where the membrane is for the mouth. And I kind of wish that they might have had a little bit more plastic, or maybe some way of actually getting a little bit more plastic going into the skull, so when you open his mouth there was a little bit more membrane actually moving along with the jaw. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But I do like that they actually have the tubing coming from the lower section of the jaw and coming around to the back of the alien, which is really cool and also very reminiscent of the Big Chap action figure. But the jaws look freaking gnarly, where you got this very nice metallic silver for the teeth here. The little membranes and the slime on the side of the face looks really nice. Also really love the tubing on the side of the head here. And he's also got his Whittle mini mouth, which is a pain in the butt to get out of there. One thing I had to do, just so you guys can actually see the mini mouth here, is I grabbed a little needle with a ball on the end so I can kind of just insert into the little mouth so you can actually pull it out a bit. Otherwise, you kind of got to get your nail in there and just really get that thing out. But the mini mouth actually does look really cool though, where it's this very nice bone white coloring, or you even have some more of the metallic for the teeth look really nice. And it's a really nice contrast to the dark brown for this alien. For his chest region, a lot of very nice details here. Love the skeletal work that they have for the rib cage here. It looks nice, and you can see a little bit of the spine kind of sticking out of the front of the alien. And then his trademark gigantic tube sticking out of the back of the alien with his one crest here below his head. Looks really nice. Really like the paint job overall, especially with the gloss finish. You also get a nice smooth alien backside with not a whole lot of detail, but some decent spine work here for the back and on the side of the alien. And then for the lower abdomen of the alien, which has got a lot of really insane details on there, like, yeah. So moving on. His arms look really nice too with the muscle details here. Has his trademark 6-fingered hands where they're kind of clenching together, look really nice. And just to show you guys the other hand as well. Back of the details on the hand too look really great. Kind of wish that they maybe would have added the metallic silver for the nails here, like you see on a lot of the other aliens, like the Big Chap, where the brown just kind of transitions from the hand onto the nails. Might be nice to give it a little bit more added character for the hands, because otherwise it just kind of looks like one giant brown glove kind of going over his hand. It would have been nice to maybe have a little bit more color variation for the hands. And then again, for his legs, they look freaking awesome. Really love the bends to this too, where it kind of goes into a more chicken leg positioning. Back of the, I'm not exactly sure what to call this, the second kneecap, where you get this bone protrusion sticking out of the back of it, which looks really cool. Guy gives him a little bit more of a defining character for this alien, with his 4-finger toes and that weird little appendage one just kind of hanging out the back of the heel here. But I love the way like the feet kind of have these little connecting membranes going into it, where it kind of gives it this weird kind of very alien look. Not 100% sure if it actually was brown in the video game though. I actually have to replay that to really check out. But it would be nice to see the metallic silver anyways, just to kind of give him more of a biomechanical feel to him, which pretty much the alien kind of represents. And then finally you have his really nice spinal tail here. A lot of very nice detail work here as well, and really love the gloss here on the tail too, which this tail is made out of a more harder rubber, so you actually get a decent amount of articulation here with the bendy wire inside of the tail. And then coming along to his giant bony spike protrusion at the end of his tail, which he uses to impale Amanda in the game if you get a little too careless with our alien here. But the details look really nice on it too, and it's super floppy as well. But for his articulation, if you turn his head a little bit to the side, because this part will get in the way if you're trying to look up. You can get him to look up a little bit, but it seems like it wants to come back down a little bit. You can actually look down a little bit too, so pretty much that's about your movements for the head. So I can look left and to the right, but you don't want to go too crazy with it though, because just like on the large Big Chap figure, the little tubes actually hook into the back of the alien, so if you go a little bit too crazy on it, I imagine these will pop off pretty easily, so just be a little bit wary of that, so don't go too crazy when articulating this guy's head. And as for his jaw, you can move up and down. You can move down about that far, move up about that far, and then again the mini mouth inside has a little bit of articulation as well, where it can come in and out, if I can find that little thing. Just to show you guys again the movement, and also move a little bit up and a little bit down as well. And for his shoulders, it's actually on a ratchet joint, so it can move down about that far, up about that far. Also has a really nice rotation to it. It also has a rotation here at the upper part of the bicep. It has a rotation here at the elbow. Also has a pretty nice bend here at the elbow as well. His hand can also rotate all the way around. It's on a hinge joint too, so it can bend in and outwards. For his waist, can rotate all the way around. Also has a pretty nice wiggle to it. For his legs, can move outwards about that far, so you can get some alien splits going on with this guy. Can move in about that far. Has a forward kick about that far. Can move backwards about that far. So this guy actually has some pretty crazy leg articulation. Like, he even has a swivel up here. Then for his knees, on a double joint, so you can get the bend in about that far. For the second knee, can move straight about that far, backwards, inward about that far. And then also has a rotation here as well, where it can rotate all the way around. And then for his feet, can also rotate all the way around, and also can move in and outwards. And the tail keeps bumping into the camera. Stop it. Well, I guess moving on to the tail, it actually has a little bit of articulation here as well, where you can send a bendy wire, so you can kind of get it to do whatever you feel like, and is also the main support for holding this alien upward. So for some quick comparison, here we have the Isolation alien compared next to Amanda Ripley, whose review will be coming soon. And here is some of his brethren, with the warrior alien from Aliens and the dog alien from Alien 3. Which I really actually like this guy standing next to these two, because you can definitely tell the difference between the Isolation alien and the two other ones. With his legs actually being more reminiscent of the dog alien, while his actual upper body section is more reminiscent of the warrior alien. And then finally for his head, definitely Big Chap inspired. And to show you guys the difference in the length of the tails as well, with the Isolation alien actually being the longest out of the three, with the dog alien being very, very close, and the warrior alien, not so much. And here he is with Her Highness, the Queen alien, and the Square Enix Colonial Marine Spitter alien. And here is some counter alien figures I recently acquired, with the Queen alien and the Queen Facehugger alien. So overall, the Neca Isolation Xenomorph, this figure is actually pretty cool. Really like the details on him. His articulation's actually probably one of my favorite on the line next to the Queen. And his only real negatives for this figure being the stance slightly lackluster, and I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more paint apps. But I do actually recommend this figure to you guys, especially if you really love the video game Alien Isolation and are a big fan of Xenomorphs, then this guy needs to be terrifying his way into your collection. But what do you guys think? Have you guys found any of the Isolation alien figures? Did you guys actually enjoy Alien Isolation, or is adventure games just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. A little closer pictures of this guy on Facebook. You want to click the link description below. Help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe to become a ranger today, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.